I launched this channel in 2017 with the first videos about note-taking apps on the iPad. I went through all the things. I used Rome Research, I used Obsidian, upgraded to Notion, moved on to Mem, doubled down on Tana and ended up in Heptabase. And now all this is gone. We just entered a new era, and I will show you in this video the proof why note-taking apps and PKM tools as you might know it are no longer relevant in 2026. In my previous videos I talked about it. In this video I will show you exactly how this works and how I use it as a professional on a daily basis to manage my business but also my life. But first let me mention why I finally stopped using all those tools that we recommended even to our members over all these years. Well, in the end, these knowledge tools are built by developers based on a very specific structure and a way how to present the information to you and allow you how to interconnect the information, all based on what the developer had in mind. If you wanted to build something for yourself, you've still been stuck in the scaffold that the tool provided to you. So you were able on Notion to build your amazing live management dashboards. In Obsidian, you can download plugins and all the things to customize the things to your need. And yet you're still depending even on more developers who create these plugins for you. On Heptabase, I got fed up because I was now stuck inside Heptabase as they weren't opening up the MCP server there to get easier access to my data and manage my knowledge in there. And this was the final nail in the coffin for PKM tools, where I realized I don't even need those tools anymore. All I need is a single folder on my computer and Claude. And let me say this right away. It's not Claude replacing the PKM tools. It's AI doing this, because in the end, what I'm building in this folder is mine, created based on my specific needs, and I can simply swap the brain that manages this folder. So maybe it's Claude today, it's Gemini tomorrow, it's ChatGPT in a few years, who knows what else will come up. But the amazing thing is, whatever I build now is mine. And that's another thing I want to share before we dive into building this, because I think it's so crucial to understand. We work with many businesses worldwide on implementing AI for their business and teams. And there's always this misconception that they work together on a folder using the same AI and so on. This is not AI empowerment. My co-founder Paco Cantero and I, we both strongly believe that the real advantage in a business is empowering the employees to build their own AI teams to become more efficient in their field of expertise. So that's why anyone who learns how to use AI, how to ask the right questions to AI, will have an unfair advantage over those who don't. And any business owner and team leader who empowers their employees to learn these skills will make the overall business more efficient too. It's not about applying AI on top of the business and manage the business. It's about giving each individual member the superpowers they need to accelerate their work. So enough talking, let's dive into this and I show you step by step. This is not just words, it's reality already. We are here on my desktop and I will just right click and create a new folder. So you see that this is really just a folder. It's an untitled folder, we just name it PKA Demo. PKA, I mentioned it in the other videos. I strongly believe the era of personal knowledge management is over and we are entering the new era of personal knowledge assistance. In this video I show you proof of it. Okay, let's open up this folder. Here we are. Empty folder, nothing in there. And now I could open up Claude Desktop, you have seen this, Cowork, Code, Chat and all these things. And all I'm doing here can be done in Cowork. You just go here, you choose a different folder, I go to desktop, I select this PKA folder, and now I could start building all this out. But I want to show you today what I'm actually using on a daily basis. This Cowork is the gateway drug. That's really the thing that makes it simple for you to access the things because it looks fancy. But you will see today in this video too that using the terminal is even simpler and easier to use than Claude Cowork. And that's why In this video, I will show you how I would actually do this. So people are already scared when they hear just the word terminal. In the end, you just search for terminal. There you are. You open it up and this is this box, and people already say, oh, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Hear me out and tell me in the end of the video if this was complicated or not. All right. So we are in this terminal, and when you open up a terminal like this, it is on the root folder of your computer. This is all that says it here. Okay. So we want to just get into the folder, and that's the only thing that you need to keep in mind. So when I go down here, we have the folder. We can right click the folder, and here you can copy the folder, something you probably do a lot, copying files. But if you hold down Option on your keyboard, you get the path name. And I'm here on Mac. In this video, I will focus on Mac. So if I hold down the Option key, you see now I can copy this as a path name. That's probably something a lot of people don't know. You can click this, and now what I have is this path. See, it's the path, users, my username, desktop, and here's the folder. That's all I can copy in here. Okay, so if you don't know how to copy paste, I use Command V to copy things in. Right? That's something you're used to Word and the other tools too. So in order to access this folder, all we need to keep in mind is you write down CD, then you copy in this link. And this is it. Doing so, I'm now in this folder. I'm now in this folder in my terminal. That's all you need. Now I launch Claude, and how to install Claude and so on. That's something you find in thousands of other videos. But you see, I just write down Claude in order to launch Claude, and now it's asking me if it's allowed to access my folder. Yes, and now I'm in. And now Claude Code launched in here. And people are scared whenever they hear Claude Code, but it has nothing to do with code. Yes, you can do it for coding. I used Claude Code to build my myICOR application and the membership platform that you can sign up to and watch our courses and all this. It was all built with Claude Code. But for what I'm showing you in this video and for my personal knowledge assistance that I'm using every day for my business and my private life, there is no single line of code involved. And you will see in this video that this is true. So you see here Larry, that's this fox here. Larry is my orchestrator. He is the AI agent who is managing all the other AI team members. If you watched any of my previous videos, you know who this guy is. Let's just overlap him with this terminal so we can just say, this is now Larry in here. And this folder is now this folder. We just move it next to it so we see what's actually happening now. So we are in this folder PKA demo. Quick recap. We are in the folder PKA demo. We are here in the folder PKA demo and launched Claude. This is it. So this means whenever I write anything here, it will get reflected inside the folder. So if I would move in here, for example, documents or anything I want to work on, I could directly interact here. But let's not start with this. Let's start really from the bottom, what we actually need. And this is where it becomes really crucial. Now, each individual out there is able to create whatever you have in mind that suits your specific needs. And that makes it so hard to just give you a template. And I would actually not recommend something, and we never recommend it, to download any templates from Notion or Obsidian or guidelines or anything like this, because it made you stuck in another person's use case, how they work. So for example, if a student came up with a template that says it's the amazing productivity template for Notion, and you are a high stake expert working in big corporates, struggling every day, and you try to apply this to your workplace, it probably fails. And then you reach out and maybe you get some coaching and workarounds. And that's where we taught already our members, who are all professionals, business owners, project managers. You need to understand your productivity system in a tool agnostic way. That's what we teach with the ICOR methodology. And this makes you resilient to any tool changes or anything like this. And you will see now, if you have this foundational understanding about productivity, how this unfolds now in here. So this way, I can now perfectly work in the folder or in the chat. So let's start with the basic folder structure that I also could actually ask AI to create for me. But I want to do this manually right now to get it started, okay? I will just create a new folder that I call Owner's Inbox. I want to use this folder for whatever AI is working with me as a working folder. So this means whenever AI comes back with results, it will move it into this folder for me to review and to access. And you will see later on that we then can archive these things in the inbox and AI will organize it for me. I will have a team inbox. This is the inbox where I will be able later on to move any working files and documents or whatever I want to give the team to work with, the AI team to work with, easy access. So you see, just these two folders give me already a clear understanding of whenever I capture something, I can move it in here. Whenever I output something, they move it in here. Now I will create a third folder called team. And whenever in this video I talk about team, I mean the AI team and not the team I'm working with. And I want to be clear, I'm building here a personal knowledge assistance. I won't give my human team access to this folder because this is where I manage my knowledge. And you will see later on that you can perfectly link out to external sources to give more context and things like that. And in another video, I will show you how all this works together with a human team. Now we have these three folders. So now let's get started. Here, and this is again, I could give you a long prompt with all the details and everything necessary. You might have heard the term prompt engineering and things like this. Those times are gone. I'm talking to AI every day like a human being based on my expertise, how I talk to team members too. So I would just say something, and that's the beautiful thing in Claude Code now. You have a lot more tools available. So I could now start writing here, or I can just talk, because if you hit slash and voice, you can actually toggle on voice mode. And now I just need to hold down space and start talking. And then it asks you to allow access to the microphone. All right, you are my new personal AI assistant called Larry. So please set yourself up inside this folder with the following guardrails. You are only an orchestrator. You will never carry out any work that I give you. You will always seek out for the perfect AI team member to handle the job. In order to accomplish this, the first two team members that you will create now will be Nolan, our HR person, who will hire new AI people based on the needed expertise that Nolan gets researched by Pax with an X, who will be the senior researcher in the team to research for all the necessary skills that real human employees in this area of expertise have. So Nolan knows what this AI person needs to look like. Each AI team member has a name and a persona and an identity. This will make it easier for me to address directly the different team members. I could go on now, right? I could have made it even shorter. And there are also mistakes, typos, and so on in there. I don't care. I can go now here and say Pax, and I remove this. But that's the beauty about AI. He will get the point anyway. I'm here on Opus, 1 million context window. So I'm pretty sure it will do a good job. So let's hit start and I will fast forward so we will see what happened. But you should see now what's happening in here on autopilot. All right, you see, it just asked me for permission, and here it created now the .claude folder. This is where the memory exists, the skills exist, the different agents exist. If you use Claude Cowork in such a folder, it looks exactly the same. And you see this is grayed out. This means with a dot in front, it is considered a hidden folder. Okay, so you might don't see this. It looks maybe like this for you. If this is the case and you want to see this folder, you hold down Shift, Command and dot, and this shows the hidden folders and files too. And I like to see these things. You see here it adds now an agent folder, and you see here it asks me for permission. But again, you see here, this is no code. It is just text. And that's where people are scared of seeing all this. But in the end, I have much more control of what is happening. So you see here, it wants to create now a file in agents. And this guy is called Pax. And that's the description, senior researcher, and what model it uses, Opus, and the tools it should have access to, right? These are all the things that we want. And now I have a perfect agent who is specialized in online research. So I allow this, and now you see Pax and Nolan are created. So what are these files? .md. It's just text files with some formatting in it. If you use Obsidian, this is exactly the files of all your nodes in Obsidian are made of. You're using this already, but with a lot less syntax in it, so it's really readable. Let's open this up and see what this is. See? This is exactly what I read in the terminal. This is now the identity of Pax. And whenever I ask AI to do something, it will open up this Pax. When I ask AI to research something online, Larry will ask Pax, and therefore just loading in these details in order to research online for me. And the beautiful thing here is now I can edit this in a normal text editor. If something is strange or I'm not happy with, I can update it this way. Also, I'm usually asking just Larry to readjust the different agents whenever I feel something is wrong. But you have full control. And here's Nolan, our HR person. And you see Nolan, HR director, hires new AI team members. Did you see that? There is no big prompt that I provided, anything like that. I was really saying I need just an assistant and an orchestrator to build me all this out. And it made exactly this perfect thing here. It also recognized that we have a roster, which is the team roster. So Larry will then be able to identify the different team members. And you see it also created a folder called team. Here's the roster. And if you open this up, it shows me this, which is just a table inside MD with the different entries. We have name, role, specialty, and status. So you see name Larry, role orchestrator, name Pax, role senior researcher, specialty deep expertise research, Nolan HR director, a team member creation, and so on. This is what I think gives you the best control and understanding what's going on. So now he finished. He gives me now a nice table. So you see, even that we are in a terminal, Claude makes an amazing job to visualize it in the best way possible for me to understand how it works. It tells you how it works, the folder structures, but you see it was created inside the folder. Remember, we are still just in this folder, the empty folder that we created here. And this is now where we need now one final component. So we are not getting lost in creating this and starting interacting, but then getting confused over time. That's why we already built this owner's inbox and the team inbox. So I can now perfectly say, it might already recognize this. For example, if I'm unsure about something, let's do it this way, because I didn't tell him what the owner inbox and team inbox is that I already created. Let's see if he already understands what this is all about. And if not, I will explain it to Larry. All right, great. I don't know if you recognize, but there is an owner's inbox and a team inbox. Do you already know what they are for? And that's it. And if you worry that he starts editing something, you see it says accept edits on, right? I can just hit Shift Tab to switch to plan mode. That's something you don't have in Claude Cowork, but you have in Claude Code inside the desktop version. And the plan mode is really powerful because this way Claude will approach your question a complete different way, and it gives you a plan how it would implement this. So whenever I'm unsure if it really gets the point what it should do, it should first do the planning, tell me how it will approach it, and then I can confirm the plan in order to move forward. So usually I add also something like, please let me know any open questions that you might have in order to understand how we will work together moving forward. You see, these are typical skills that you need to have as a team leader, onboarding people and understand, do they really get what they should do on a daily basis? And that's what we do here. And this gives me now a feedback loop to see if AI actually understands. And all I'm doing here, I could replace this, for example, with Gemini. That also works in this way in the terminal, and it would work the same way. And this is also powerful because you can even use local LLMs if security and privacy is an issue for you. So this is the amazing thing about the planning mode now, as it now is asking me questions for clarification. And you might have seen this in Cowork too. It's nicely represented in Cowork and so on, but in the end, we have the same thing. I see already all the questions that he will go through. And the question, Larry is asking me, are my assumptions about the inbox correct, or do they serve a different purpose? And here I see, let me be honest, I made assumptions when I set up the Claude.md file. See? And now we can check what he actually set up in here. And here we go. This is the Claude.md file. That's the file that Claude will read first whenever you open up Claude in this folder. So this means whenever you start chatting with Claude in this folder, it will first read this before it gets back to you with an answer. See, and here are the things that I mentioned to him. You are never doing the work yourself. The communication style, team management. See here, the team roster lives in team roster.md. You see here's the team folder and here's the roster.md. So Larry, the first point of contact whenever I start using Claude, knows now that here where the experts live, that he needs to reach out to get the job done. Each team member has an agent definition in Claude. See? So this means here are the agents, but they also have a profile. And this is what we have here. And then here's the inbox system. So he proactively created this already. Deliverables and reports for Thomas to review. Tasks and assignments flowing between team members. Team member profile. So he got the team inbox wrong, as this is not our task management system. And here's the hiring pipeline. So here I can say close but not quite. So obviously I need to explain something. So there's always the option to give my own input. And I say, how do you want to give tasks to the team? Always through me, Larry? Or should you also be able to address team members directly by name? So I'm used to talk only to Larry, but I mention other people's name. So I know, he's delegating too. So that's why I say always through Larry. That makes it very easy. If I'm on the phone, I just talk to Larry and he will move those tasks to the team members. Should team members save their work products as files in the inbox folder or just respond directly in the conversation? Now, this is what I'm using in the owner's inbox. Deliver in owner's inbox in working folders. And here, what kind of task are you planning to give the team? This helps me understand. So this is business and strategy. I don't know yet, okay? It's perfectly fine to say something like this. Let's keep it open. Obviously, we are not here for software development. We want to use this to build our personal knowledge assistants. And it could be a bunch of different things. That's it. Now, it keeps completing the plan. In this answer I said, the team inbox definition is wrong. Team inbox is just for me to share any files or images the team can then work on and organize in the database, DB for database, all right? It doesn't matter, I could have written down database, and that's the thing. People already are scared again when they hear the word database, but in the end, if you've been using Notion or anything like this is databases. It just gives you a nice front end to use this, and we will get to this in this video where I will put in the final nail into the coffin for this, for the PKM tools, because we will have an interface in the end of the video too. So yes, we want to have a database. So I will just say, and that's what I recommend you starting out too, just say, yes, we need a SQLite database, okay? The thing is, if you would just say, I need a local database, it's very likely that your AI assistant will create an SQLite database. What this is, you don't need to care. You will see this in a moment. Why? You don't need to know how to set this up. You don't know how to directly use this SQLite database, but you will see in the end of the video how powerful this will be beyond just having simple folders in here. When you drop files, images in team inbox, should Larry automatically pick them up and route them, or do you explicitly tell Larry what to do with them? Well, let's say Larry should auto-detect. We can do this, and then you run through a few workflows, and then you realize, oh, something is wrong, and then this is where you add guardrails. And with this huge context window, you can always do reviews of what we are building in here and say something is wrong. Can you identify the issues? And it will identify the issues. In the end of the day, Claude Code is handling huge code bases and complicated things. So it's really a piece of cake for Claude to do what we are building here. But as you can see, not one single line of code has appeared in this whole conversation yet, and it won't. For the SQLite database, should it mainly track files, images you drop in the team inbox, or do you envision it storing broader data over time, tasks, notes, context, etc.? See? And that's what we want to have, right? We want to have it all. So this is the moment, and obviously I'm going a direction that you might have reached earlier, because you said I want to have a journaling application, for example, and I want to have daily journaling, and that's what we want to add here. In this database, I want my knowledge organized and indexed. Use it for daily personal journaling, meeting notes, as a CRM, contact management system, again, something you've built probably with Notion or something like this already, and to track my ongoing projects. Yeah, let's do something random, okay? Let's see what happens. When Larry detects new files in team in session start, what should happen? List files, ask what to do, auto catalog, then report, just notify. I think list the files, ask what to do. That's amazing. Why? Because now I could actually in the team inbox folder have a folder for my scanner. So I can scan documents and they appear inside the team inbox. And then the next time I launch Larry, I can directly start working with these documents. And then for all of you who are tempted to install OpenClaw and all these things, don't do it. You get it all just from this one window here. If something going off red and you think, oh, he's doing something wrong, you can always hit escape and you interrupt him and it stops. Larry will stop working in this case. Here's the plan it created for you to review what it will do in the different steps. The database it will create, which will just live again in this folder. Nothing special, nothing online. It's all local. It will create this schema for your database. So you will have a knowledge base, you will have journal entries, meetings, contacts, interactions and all this. And then it will also update the agent definitions, because now they are aware of that there's a database. So they're aware of this. But you see, I didn't even mention it. And Larry is taking care of this already. And then update the team profiles, update the overall memory. And this is the verification we can go through in order for this to work. So now I interrupted it. However, we can just continue. And how do we continue? Just write continue. See? That's it. Because it still has the full context from before. The moment I interrupted, the moment it stopped. So now Larry will just continuing implementing this. But what I wanted to show in between is the remote. I can hit remote/remote, remote control. And now it started remote control. This means I can go here on my phone, open up the Claude app, and you just go to Claude Code. I just go here and now I'm seeing exactly on my phone the same thing that I see, including the history and everything. So just to show you that this works, I write down here hi, and you see immediately it appears here. So I can go now shopping or whatever. I see the status of the team. And I can send messages this way. There is no need for Telegram or WhatsApp or whatever. I have direct access to this terminal window through my phone. And this is amazing. And now he's asking, what do you need, Thomas? Because I wrote down a hi, right? But the thing is, with this remote, it also appears now in your Claude Code in the Claude desktop. So here it is. Boom. See, here's the hi, the notification that I sent. So if I would like, I can now just keep writing here. And I say, I can close this. I can just replace this. Now I have the fancy visual representation of all this that you might prefer. And you can keep talking here the very same way. But I just prefer being in here, because you will see once you get the point of Claude Code that there's always features that are way beyond what you can use on Claude Desktop. Also, you might never need them. So again, if you prefer Claude Desktop up to this point, and even for the whole video, you could use the Claude Desktop version 2. No problem at all. It will create also the database and so on. No problem. I'm just using this on a daily basis, and that's why I wanted to show it to you here. Okay, it created a database. See, it tells you what tables it created in this database. The session start, all tasks go through me. All this is done. Now the thing is, how do we see what in the database is? There's no way to open this database, right? Again, and this is the moment where we don't need to have fancy tools anymore. We just create something to our liking. So now I could just ask Larry to build an interface that shows me the database. Okay, interface is just what you from Notion and so on. It just shows you what is in the backend, the database, and all the complex code in a fancy way, so it's easy for you to read. Same for Obsidian. It is just living in a local folder, and it's just representing the data that is in a folder in a nicer way for you. But we are using an AI team, and I want to have the best interface in the world that is specialized for me. So therefore, we will rather hire a person who can do that. Hey Larry, let's hire a developer who is specialized in creating amazing applications like Notion and Craft and Heptabase that all have great interfaces for me to use. Once hired, let him build an interface to make it easy for me to see the data in my database. Create a journal entry about us talking today, about creating all this, so we have already an entry available. So I know the terminology. I would have used maybe different things like front-end developer and UI, UX and all these things. But I used really things that I think if you have no clue about these things, that might be the way you ask your team member for it, and you will see it still gets the point. That's the beautiful thing. It's the business analyst now. He understands what you're actually asking for and translates it for the team to make the right hiring. So you see it on it, Thomas. And I again could have switched to plan mode and he would have asked more questions and so on. But I'm pretty sure it will be straightforward to create something amazing. So you see, he's already leveraging the team on it. Pax, research SWOT a developer specializing in Notion, Craft, Heptabase style apps needs to know. Nolan hires the dev based on Pax research. The new hire builds your database interface. Journal entry, I will have Pax log it while doing the research. Kicking off Pax now. This is where Claude Code really shines because it will create backend agents. And you see here now an agent working, which is Pax, working in the background, doing all the research. And if you think this is complicated, what you see here, all these things is also shown in Cowork and Code. Whenever you open up these things, you see the details there too, you know? So this is something that was always there, but Tropic and Claude does a great job in hiding this from you, you know? You can click here, you see all these details too. And this is where people get confused in the terminal. When they see the details, they get scared. But here they're just hiding the details from you. I love to see all these details because then I feel more in control what's happening. So let him do the work. So you see he's doing web research. So for example, now you can go further and say, I want to use Perplexity always to do the research and not the normal web research. That's something I'm using. So I'm using Perplexity API and my Pax is actually using this to do the research via Perplexity. And that's how you then come up with more and more ideas what you can do because you just say it. And Larry or your personal assistant will tell you how you can implement it, whatever you like. If you have a specific database in the web that you would like to have context to, you can just name it and it will tell you step by step how you can implement this. Let me know in the comments below if you're already using Claude Code this way or if you're inside Claude Desktop and if you prefer Claude Desktop. But I hope it's clear now that this is just an interface showing you this in a different way and there's nothing to be scared about this. And in this terminal, it also shows you details about the thing. So you have always this Control+O to expand, Control+B to run in the background. This is amazing. So I can now, for example, say Control+B and now it's gone. And you see down here, one local agent. Now I can keep talking to Larry while this is running in the background. So it's still working on it. So we can, in the meantime, keep working on our folder. So I will just go to my scanner inbox and you might have seen the video where I let the AI organize all my random files here. So I will just go here and I will just select all of them instead of this. So this is just PDF scans, real invoices and random things. And I will just drag and drop this into my team's folder here. Holding down Option, I will copy it so I'm not actually moving it. And now you see I'm still working just in a folder. So I copied just over 120 files into this team inbox. While Pax is still doing research, I can now ask Larry to organize this. hey Larry, I just added a bunch of documents that I scanned into the team inbox folder. Can you actually make it organized so you create folders in a way that makes sense, but also add them to the database that we just created so we will have easy access to all these files whenever I need it. And also maybe you find interconnectivity between the different files. So it makes more sense for me to see it on the front end in the interface that you will build later on. Okay, something random. I could have said it differently, but I don't care. You will see. It will be amazing. So he will now go into the team inbox. He sees all these scanned files and he will start organizing this in parallel while Pax is still working on this. And you can always just arrow down. That jumps to the local agent, hit enter, and now I see what this agent is currently working on. See, it's searching for Notion engineering block, architecture blocks, and so on. It perfectly starts to understand what this is. And on the other hand, see, 119 PDFs, OCR needed, German plus English, year-based folder structure. So there's not even an OCR on these PDFs, and he's doing it. I'm delegate this to a specialist agent who will. And then he moves it to a new year-based folder under owner's inbox organized, something we don't actually want. And this is where you readjust, okay, where you say, no man, the owner inbox should be just handled, treated as an inbox. And you see I'm giving a lot of permissions manually, but you can also launch Claude in bypass any permissions, and this will be just hands off. Now he just created an agent on the fly. Now I could put in guardrails again, and I can say, instead of creating a temporary agent to do this job, I think we can use a dedicated librarian working for us. Whenever we get more scanned documents in, they should get organized into the respective folders. He needs to have an understanding of the database and how things should get organized based on best practices. So now I can send this. You see by this here that Larry is still working on what is above, and this is now queued. So he's not aware what I have written right now. In a moment, whenever he considers it's worth it, this will jump above and then he will read this and then he will act on this. I could also interrupt him and say, do this directly, but I want him to finish the work. He gets already some insights with this temporary agent in here, and then he will just use what he learned from this part and then use this as a starting point for Nolan to hire the right person. I'm pretty sure about this. Also, the research ended. We will get the front-end developer very soon too. You can always, in parallel, ask something while he's thinking. So by hitting slash and BTW, by the way, you can ask questions. Did Pax finish his research? You know, and see, I immediately already start talking by the names that we created here for the different team members. That makes it much easier for me as human to keep in mind who is responsible for what. And see, this runs in parallel. Okay, we will see. Let him finish the things. So he has no update yet. By the way, is not using the full context of what we are talking here, so I could ask separate questions. But I usually launch several terminals. So I usually have 6 to 8 different Larrys working for me with the team. And this is where the whole thing becomes scalable. One team member would build out the interface. The other one would organize my notes. The other one I'm using for daily journaling, all in parallel. And this is what makes it then so powerful and scalable for the individual person working in a team. And now imagine this at scale. So here we see it already created the organized folder, and here it's already starting to move the different PDF files into it. But the important thing is that here's also the research brief. So you see, this is what Pax brought back also in the owner inbox. I can open this up by just hitting space. And this is the thing that Pax came up with. Prepared by Pax. So even if we would lose contact, if the internet breaks down or whatever, I now can always refer back to this research and I say, hey, you stopped working on this, you need to hiring this. And look how detailed all this is, right? How top performers think, quality markers. So this is now the research output that Nolan will use to hire the right front-end developer. I interrupted Larry here because you get the point, okay? It would have organized all these PDFs. It takes too long for my video right now here because it's a lot of files. It needs to go in there, does OCR and all this, you know, renames the files and all these things. So I think you get the point about the usefulness of this scanner inbox thing, okay? So we'll just delete all this from the inbox And now the inbox is empty again. We have this first step of this organization. That's fine. And now I want to get back to building this interface, okay? So he already said agent research PKM app developer role completed. See, that shows that he recognized that Pax has completed. And I want to continue now with building out this interface. Okay, now continue with hiring a new developer so we can build out the interface as soon as possible based on the results from the research from Pax. And you see it recognized Pax this way. Okay, I'm pretty sure Larry will know what I was going for. See, Pax developer research is already in. Let me pull it up and hand it to Nolan. See, Nolan to hire the developer. And if you wonder about the images that my team members have, this is where you can go wild then, because if you connect Claude now to the Gemini Nano Banana API, or you just ask, how can we create images? It will tell you how, right? You can then say, give each new team member an individual image so I can refer to them. And then you will see on this interface, we could now visualize this too. So while this is building, I just want to recap quickly what we got so far and how easy things are still set up, and yet how powerful it is already. We have the team inbox where I can share anything that I like. Images, videos, audio, whatever. AI will be able to handle this and organize it. We have a team with 2 members in there, and the overall folder is Larry, who lives in this, okay? Claude.md, this is Larry. And now in the team, we have all the agents that people always say, you have to build agents in here and so on. No. We want to have things easy to understand, and they work perfectly this way. Here's the roster that gets updated automatically by Nolan whenever he hires something. So we go in here, you see, and when we go in here, you see all the details. Here's the HR, the director, and what he needs to do. So he updates always the team roster. That's the amazing thing. You're building a database of your team members. And now you just saw Sable appeared, which is the new member. They gave it the name Sable for whatever reason. You can obviously rename it, but usually they think about this quite good, why they should be called this way, as it is relatable. So let's see what we have there. Okay, Sable, PKM application developer, role and specialization, key strength, how to work with Sable. See, it perfectly already understands what we built so far in this folder, and now he will start working inside this folder. And this is where we really have to start to think about the different folders we are creating and the agents living in these folders, rather than having one big folder for everything. So I have one folder where my business AI team is working in, but I'd say business, in the end it's just working for me inside this business. And then I have a different folder that's really my private life and my hobbies and all the other things that I do, that I wanted to have disconnected. And it's a different focus level they get when they are just aware of the business and not of random things in a life. And that's why I would always recommend to try to be specific about the things that you want to create. And again, if you go to Claude Cowork, now you have the new projects folder in Cowork too, and it was already available here on chat. These projects, there was exactly this. You were able to focus on things. I don't know why they now moved this to Cowork, because in the end of the day, using actually folders is exactly this. Yes, you can add external information to the project and things like that, but I don't see the real need of these projects if you set up these folders in the right way. And there we go. It created now Sable. So now want me to send Sable straight to work on building the interface for your database. Yes. And I'm going really slow here, step by step. But once you build a few things, and there's nothing to lose. Create an empty folder and start doing this and see how far you get. And then you create a new version with the insights that you gained from the first version. Or you join us in myICOR, and we are there in weekly coaching where we can help you to accelerate the things as well. So how easy is this to understand, this folder, right? Here is where all the knowledge lives. In this simple database file you will see is all we need. And what it does, your files will remain here. They're accessible like this, like the Obsidian style, but the database ensures that you will have indexed these things easy for you and the AI to search through. So that's why I think the database step is crucial whenever you build something like this, because it will also make it easier for your team to keep things organized. And now there we go. It created app. And now it starts creating an app, which might be overkill. You could have just said, give me a simple browser-based interface to show me this. Let's see what he's building there. If you feel this is too complicated, just tell it. But let's see what he comes up with. As we hired a specialist in this, now we're getting code inside our folder, right? This is where we go into the vibe coding era, right? But you see, it's all based on just back and forth. And the reason why it makes this complicated app now is that we refer to Notion and all these amazing apps. Now he thinks that he should build something like this too. If you would just have said, can you visualize this database for me in Chrome? It will be much easier. And we will do this in a moment to see the difference. I just want to let him finish this so we can see what he built there. And then we will make a simpler version afterwards. While he is working, I just want to comment something that is here down below. That's called the status line. See, there's even the weather here, and it gives you even things like inbox items and things like this. This can be customized easily. Again, just ask AI to customize this for you, and he will update this according whatever you want to see there. You can /status line, and there you can then comment on how you want to update the status line and what should be shown there. I'm running here on Claude Max plan with $200 per month, so the 20x Max plan. What I'm showing here, you can perfectly start with the Pro plan with $20 a month. You will go very far for sure. And if you have a lot of information that needs to go through and you burn through tokens, like here we burn through 21 million tokens already, go for the 5x Max plan for $100 a month. But always consider all the tools that you will be able to cancel subscriptions, that this is saving you. So it is not expensive at all. And I'm even considering the people I would need to pay to work with me on things that I'm just using Claude now. The beautiful thing is when it comes to backup, here I'm on my desktop and therefore it gets synced to iCloud. So there's already a backup. I also use Dropbox locally. So therefore I can create these folders easily the same way as I do here, but it gets synchronized with Dropbox. Same is available for Google Drive. So this is how you can even back these things up in the cloud, but also make it accessible across different devices too, if you connect them this way too. Okay, so what Sable created is absolutely overkill. And this happens if you say, hey, can you build me a Notion clone? Yes, of course it can. So it goes ahead, hires a person like we had here, who is an actual app developer. And now it asked me for permission to open localhost 3000. Don't worry, it is just running a server locally on your computer. So you can actually run the app locally. That's it. If you really want to have an app, this is the way how you can build it. And now when we open up Chrome, let's just go localhost 3000. And this is it, guys. In one session, this is the outcome of what we've built. You see here, those are the PDFs that we uploaded. It built a dashboard and we didn't have any review or anything like this, okay? It's out of the box. I can click here. It opens up the files. These are all the files. It categorized it. See, it's visualizing the database that I mentioned, the SQLite database. I have the knowledge here. Here, upcoming meetings. I could now connect it with my Google Calendar and it will also start visualizing it here. I have the recent journal. So you see the potential context. We didn't even add any context yet, but let's do this, okay? Let's quickly say, add a new contact. Paco, Cantero, country, Spain, company, paperless movement. It stopped the server now. That's why we are not seeing anything anymore. And if you want to access the app again, you say start local server again. See, I'm not using any code language or anything. I'm just telling the team, I have no clue how this works. Can you please start this again? And it will run this command here for you. So it will end up launching the server again. And now here we are back and boom, contacts, Paco Cantero, view all. Here's my contacts database. Company, role. Okay, so I want to stop here because what we have here is such a basic interface. That's where I want to make you aware. Don't overcomplicate the things. If AI is going off rail, you don't need to build a whole application and run a local server and all these things. So the beautiful thing is you can always hit escape twice and here's your whole conversation. So I can jump back into this position where he started creating this application. Or I can say the following. Larry, I'm sorry for the confusion, but this is total overkill. Sable, the guy we hired, is a completely fully fledged developer. All we actually need is just a simple visualization interface that I can open in Chrome to visualize the data that we have in the database and other things that we might consider, but it can be very basic. No application needed. So please undo all the overkill implementation of the app and build something very lightweight and simple. And that's something I did in the past. If you just say visualize the database for me, it would have done this for sure. The reason why it built this complicated app is that we said we want to hire a developer who built and worked on Notion, Craft and all these tools. So obviously the research was going beyond. And if you do this properly, that's the moment where you go into planning mode and say, let's hire this person. You get a plan and questions to refine what you are actually doing there. So you can be sure when you're doing it, it will get done in the right way before going off rate. All right, see, app is gone. Now sending Sable to build something truly simple, a simple HTML file that visualizes the database. The app folder is gone. Again, we see live updates inside the folder, what's happening. And you will see now it will be just a simple file in order to visualize our data that we have in our database here. And the beautiful thing is, I mean, the app that it created, sure, you won't see a big difference. And it will be much faster. You don't need to start a server or anything like this. It opens in any browser. You can open this up in Safari or Edge or whatever you're using, and it will work out of the box because it's just an interface, a UI that we put on top of our back data. This is our backend now, right? That's called the backend. And we are building the front end right now. If I would move forward with this, I would then say, yeah, but make sure now that Sable is actually adjusted his skills to just making simple visualizations. You can then ask him to create diagrams for specific needs that you have, create slide decks and all these things that you think you might need an external tool for. You can actually have yourself build there in a much more simple local way. Because there's no magic. If you follow this channel and you see the slide decks, you see our social media images, all this is built with HTML and local agents that I'm running. I'm not using any external tools anymore. AI sometimes tends to make things overcomplicated, but if you're an expert in something, you very quickly realize if it is going off rail. And that's why I don't worry that now every child will start a multi-billion business, because if you have no clue and no expertise, it will be AI building something that is already out there. And those businesses are not based on actual real world experience over years that you can use AI to amplify your work that you're doing. So the potential is there that you can build such businesses, but if you have no knowledge, you will build just something random that everybody else does. Maybe the 100,000 thumbnail creation app. And here we go now. There's our new interface. Just see in the URL, it is just a folder and the viewer HTML file that we opened here. And this accesses now this database that we've created in this folder. With the entries, you see the files that we have created, the journal entry, the context, here's Paco Cantero, the phone number, projects. And this way, it's also so much faster to update this. You don't have to maintain an application. It's just a website that it built for you to visualize your database in the way that you need it. And in the back end, you have the data in here. That's all it is. You have this file that shows it, and then you have this database that it visualizes it in the front end. And I will stop this video here, because here you can go wild. You don't like the color, you don't like the structure, you want to see specific things in a specific place, you want to have the navigation on the left side, and this is now where it becomes really specific for your specific needs. And that makes it so amazing. And that's why we believe that it's the end of the PKM tools as we know it. And if you're still using Obsidian and think that you are in full control of your local files and so on, watch my other video where I laid out why this is no longer true. It was the closest it can get to have control over your local files, but it was always a lie, because these files are formatted in a way that only Obsidian can properly use it to visualize it like we have here in a specific way. So they're useless if you want to use this now in a different tool. And obviously, if you want to go away with Obsidian, you can now use the folder and ask AI, copy paste it, okay? Always make a backup. And now I ask AI, can you convert this into a way that I can use it personally, build me a HTML to visualize the things that I wanted in this specific way, and you will be surprised how much more control and insights you get from whatever you have, because now you can build interfaces, hubs, analytics dashboards, all these things that you might have downloaded, complicated plugins and things like that for tools like Obsidian. And we are not even getting started with Notion or so on, where you use hacks to build amazing dashboards and things like that. Now you can really build it the way you want it to have. See, here I immediately see the overview. I have 2 journal entries, 1 contact, 33 files, and then I can also say, make this clickable, and it opens up the PDF file directly and all these things. So if you want to really dive deep into this, I made already one workshop about building your personal AI team that is available, the recordings and all the resources inside the membership. And I'm running a next workshop where we build together something that I showed today in much more detail together. We work together on your setup, ask any questions, and we will dive much deeper into this than I did today. Anyway, I hope this gave you the insights, shows you how easy it is to get started with this, even using Claude Code. And after seeing this video, let me know in the comments below if you're still scared of Claude Code. If so, do exactly the same that I did here with Claude Cowork or Claude Code in the Claude desktop application, and you will end up with the same results. I promise you. And if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and I'll catch you up in the next one.